Saturday, the last Saturday of the month of October, and Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us once again as we kick off the Experts program. And Luis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mark. And not only is it the last Saturday in October, it's the last segment that we're going to do around Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which ends tomorrow on the 31st.
Right.
And it's a good one.
Yeah, we have an interesting article here out of the Wall Street Journal online that cyber private eyes are going after hackers without counter-attacking. So this is an interesting story. First off, this kind of is telling us that one of the things that cyber private eyes were doing to go after hackers was what they were attacking them with their own versions of malware, or what were they doing, before they decided not to?
Therein lies the rub. One of the questions that I get asked often is like, why don't we go after the bad guys? Why aren't, just like you're a company that's getting hit by vandalism, you can hire private security guards to prevent that from happening. So why can't private industry go after these cyber criminals, and especially if they're being attacked continuously? And the problem is that there's a law, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, that was passed back in 1986 that makes it illegal to do anything like that. So only the federal government is allowed to do any sort of intrusive access of computer systems. So that presents a problem for private industry where they want to fight back, and we all want to fight back, but you got to tread lightly, because if you violate this particular law, you can go to jail, even though you were just doing something to protect yourself. So what these private companies have started to do is, rather than attack the attackers with the taste of their own medicine, they've basically just been poking them. The idea there is that if you make them aware that you know who they are, that these are not, they may be supported by Russia, but this isn't, they're not backed by the Russian military. So they're like kind of cockroaches, they don't like the light to shine on them. So what a lot of private companies have been doing is using the internet to expose these companies and let them know, hey, we know who you are, we know what you do, and don't do it to us, or we're going to tell somebody else. And in most cases, that's been enough. In some cases, in the more sophisticated versions of these private attempts to fight back, they've actually got the cyber criminals, because they're not the brightest bulbs in the world, to actually allow them to get access to their systems, which is, if somebody allows you to get access, you're not violating the law. And then they get access to those systems and take over their Bitcoin accounts and all sorts of things that the bad guys are sitting there going, what just happened? How did this happen to us?
Turnabout being fair play in this instance.
Yeah, absolutely. But, the federal government itself has been employing a lot of tactics to really crack down on cyber criminals. You've heard stories of ransom being repaid because the FBI in particular has a very, very sophisticated team of, white hat hackers, as we call them, the good guys. And these guys can track down these cryptocurrency wallets and find ways to get into them and then transfer those funds to another wallet. And the bad guys aren't as smart as they think they are. And that's perfectly legal for the federal government to go after these actors in a more aggressive way. But there's a lot of legislation that is being considered to amend that 1986 law to allow companies to take what's called proportional actions against these hackers. So basically, you do something to me, I can do the same thing to you and not break the law. And that amendment is kind of winding its way through the morass and sausage making that is the Congress. So it may not show up anytime soon, but when it does, or if it does, I think it'll give a private company a nice tool to fight back.
Hey, I've got a vishing. Isn't vishing the voice scams where you get a telephone call? So let me lay one on you that's been kind of prevalent over the last couple of weeks here. And I wasn't victimized by it, but I received the phone call about it the other day. In fact, a couple calls. And I saw a call come in from an 831 telephone number. So I answered it, and it's a guy who identified himself as being with Amazon Security, and how somebody was attempting to buy a new iPhone with my Amazon account. And did I authorize this? And, of course, I hadn't. And the guy wanted to talk to me more about it. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you about it right now. I'm not in front of my computer where I can look at my Amazon account. And so we hung up. Then I decided, let me try calling this number back and see if anybody answers. So I did a redial on it. And of course, it like you get that little musical note when a call goes nowhere. And so that was the end of that. Then the next day, I get a call from these people, from the same guy again, but this time it comes from an 813 area code number, not 831, but 813. And
that's Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, Tampa, Florida, exactly. And I try calling them back, and of course it makes the same noise. And then they call me back on another 813 number, and I tell the guy, he says, well, if you don't do something about this, it's going to debit your account. And I said to the guy, well, on my Amazon account, it's not tied to any of my credit cards. I have a green Dot card on my Amazon account that I'll load with cash when I'm going to buy something. And then the rest of the time, it just sits there with like $5 or $10 in it, whatever the minimum amount is that Green Dot says you have to have. So they're not going to be able to charge anything on that account because it's a debit card. And if there's no money, if there's no money on the card, then they can't buy whatever it is that they want to buy. It's not like a credit card. So I was at a dinner the other night, and the guy said to me, I had the same thing happen as well. So apparently this is a new vishing scam that's going on out there where you're getting telephone calls from random numbers and someone's identifying themselves as being from Amazon Security. And as I understand it, Amazon does not make outgoing security calls.
No, I don't even think that you can call Amazon and talk to a human being.
Right.
It's not even possible. So those kind of vishing expeditions are really prevalent. There's another one that's going on right now where, they say, hey, we can consolidate your student loans. The new law passed earlier this year can forgive all of that. Give us a call. And once you get involved in those, you end up giving them information that they can then use to get money from your bank account and things like that. So always be suspicious when you get those kind of calls and do what you do, which is hang up and call back that number and see who answers.
Right.
That's a very effective way of making sure that you're talking to somebody that's legit.
And also you can block that number as well on your cell phone.
Yep,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Of course, they'll probably just spoof another number, but you just play whack-a-mole with them.
Yeah, all day long.
But don't give them any account information.
Not at all. Not even your real name. Just lie.
There you go. Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us today as we're talking technology here on the Experts Program. Online, alvareztg.com, @AlvarezTG. That is the Twitter handle. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.